What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the trading table. Me and Lana coming at you with another video just to see what our outlook on the week is going to be, what we're expecting to see, some important news, some stocks to watch, and more. Starting off with our day trading section for today. I want to so going into this week, obviously it's gonna be bearish just based off the war news. Typically, whenever there's war news, futures and all equities kind of just run bearish, besides like oil, of course. But yeah, so this week kind of going to be bearish. Obviously, there could be some bullish days in there, but just overall weekly sentiment going to be bearish. We take a look at the weekly chart here. We can see that we're kind of coming close to these all-time highs as well. So even potentially, maybe we could take out these all-time highs and then push lower. That could be a possibility. Opening after this super bearish weekend of news, we obviously gapped down quite a bit. I think just over 100 points ish or so. Yeah, 150 points, or sorry, not even 200 points on NQ. And then we kind of came back up actually, but we haven't completely filled this gap yet. So yeah, hope maybe that gap is going to get filled and then we'll push lower. Obviously, it is kind of late right now. It is 1:20 when we're recording this, so London could be a whole different story. London session could be a whole different story. But yeah, going into Monday, I'm going to be bearish. There is also some news this week that I will pull up right now. As we can see here, at 9:45 tomorrow, we have S&P Global Manufacturing PMI. We have existing home sales at 10. That's just on Monday. This whole week is super jam-packed for news, so I guess I'll just go over this whole week as well. We have Powell testifying 2 times this week. I might just avoid trading Tuesday and Wednesday just because he can say one thing and it can print a Drake candle. And that is not something I really like having the probability of happening during my trade. So, yeah, Powell is just giving his semi-annual monetary policy report to Congress. I'm pretty sure that's when I might be actually sorry. It's both days he's doing that. He's just basically commenting on inflation trends, rate policy, and economic risks. I believe it's probably going to be just the same old, same old. Nothing too crazy will happen. I know that Donald Trump wants Powell to cut rates. This is not like a rate decision. He could announce that he's cutting rates during this meeting, but nothing official. So it'll just be like a manipulation on like the market. Won't really affect too much. But, we have Powell testifying as well. We got a really jam-packed news this week. We have durable goods orders. Not really expecting that to do much. GDP, initial jobless claims, and then we have PCE on Friday. So yeah, super volatile week with the news, and then we also have the war. Well, not even a war, just like whatever's going on over there, just the launching of missiles to also bring some of that extra volatility. So yeah, that's it for NQ. Just kind of going to be bearish this week. Tread lightly. Market's going to be super bearish. Might want to downsize a bit. But just looking at oil now, kind of jumping more towards like our market side away from the day trading. Oil, obviously, with this news, whenever there's a threat to oil prices or oil barrels and exporting of oil barrels, oil will obviously go up because there's less supply and there's still the same demand, meaning that there's a squeeze on how much it costs. Obviously, scarcity will make it cost more. That's just kind of economics 101. But as you can see here, oil pushed up. We are kind of coming back down to fill that gap now. But why this is so important, why I'm going over oil, is there is news that the Strait of Hormuz could be shut down. The idea was proposed in the Iranian parliament and their law system, and now it's just up to the executive leader to say okay or not. There's a few reasons, though, why this will most likely not happen. Although, if it does, I just want to say that 20% of global oil flows through it. So if this shuts down, the cost of oil will shoot up very high per barrel because I think there's like 20 million barrels of oil pass through. The US gets their oil from there and China gets their oil from there, which is why, leading me to my point now of why it probably won't shut down, is because China is a close ally with Iran. And if China gets their oil from Iran and it's exported through the Strait of Hormuz, are they probably going to shut down one of their closest allies, oil source? Probably not. So, There also could be some manipulation there of Russia and China doing something sneaky, but that's still not likely. So for now, I'm just gonna say that's not likely. Is it possible? Yes. If it does happen, oil barrel prices could go way over like $100, which would be terrible. It would be really good if you had seen our video. I'll throw it up on screen right now on a little annotation. You check out that video. That video, we go over what stocks we want if we do go to war with Iran or join the conflict, which we have joined the conflict now. Those are still good buys in my opinion, because I do believe Iran will probably end up retaliating one way or another against Israel or us or whatever it may be. But yeah, if oil prices go up, energy stocks go up, inflation goes up, gold will do really well, US dollar will probably drop. And that's just kind of a look on what could happen. Although, once again, going to say probably okay. Looking at Alibaba now, kind of shifting gears. This is a Chinese company. It's kind of like the Amazon of China. They are currently developing, or I think they're setting it up, but they are currently developing, getting ready to release their own AI, which is going to be able to integrate into cloud, e-commerce, logistics, and enterprise tools, kind of like Amazon. This is something I've just been watching really well because they had an earnings report that was really bad, gave kind of a nice buy-in. We've been really pushing on Alibaba here, and I've been bullish on it for quite some time now. Since I want to say like last like May when it was around $80, and now it's kind of soared up. And I think that, excuse me, with their AI, they do have quite a high margin there that they could succeed on, as long as all things go well, obviously, with the AI. But I do like Alibaba right now. It's a good innovation for China. They do have, you know, quite a bit of China on a chokehold on that like market on that Amazon side, because Amazon does not sell in China. So this is basically China's Amazon. China's the biggest country, population wise on Earth, et cetera, et cetera. Not much to say there besides their AI is coming out, and I am kind of bullish. I'm not kind of really bullish on Alibaba for that reason. Looking at our VIX now, I think long into VIX is a good play. In my opinion, it's got very little downside risk, super high upside potential. Typically, whenever we had, you know, airstrike the country, the VIX historically has not like super soared up, but I do think because of the threat of the Strait of Hormuz, I think because of the just ongoing tensions and the kind of fear of retaliatory strikes, it could kind of push up here very nicely, especially because of oil. If inflation goes up, risk and fear go up, right? Which will push the VIX up because it is the volatility index, or some people even call it the fear index for the S&P 500 or just the market in general. This is the S&P 500 though. So yeah, just US market in general. If tensions do simmer though, it'll probably stay in the 20s and just chop around. It could not soar, but from what I've been seeing, I think Iran is thinking of retaliatory strikes, at least 100% on Israel. I don't know. They don't have the capability to obviously airstrike the U.S., but, that does not mean that there could be something else going on. Another call out from our video on what to watch if we enter the Iranian-Israel conflict was Northrop Grumman. And obviously it has not opened yet, but they did use the B-21 to drop those bombs. Northrop Grumman produces the B-21. You can see kind of where I'm going with this. I'm expecting Northrop Grumman to absolutely soar at market open. Maybe not super crazy, but definitely a couple percent gain on the day, just because that plane was used and it was a completely successful mission. And a lot of people are talking about the stigmatism around how, wow, we really have the capability to do something like that, where we just fly for 30 hours, drop a bomb, and then come back home with in-flight refueling. Didn't have to land at all. That's super good news for Northrop Grumman. I'm sure defense stocks like RTX and Lockheed Martin will also follow, but Northrop Grumman for sure going to have a good day tomorrow. That's also something to watch. Could be, if it doesn't absolutely just take off in pre-market, could be good to get in there. That does definitely has some upside potential. Actually, sorry, it was the B2 that was used, not the B21. But still, nevertheless, the B2 is produced by Northrop Grumman. So still upside potential on this stock. Jumping over to Landon now to take a look at some other stocks we're going to be watching.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. Morning, everyone. Yesterday we had a pretty exciting day with Tesla. Um, as their long promise, they finally delivered their driverless taxi service to a handful of riders on Sunday, um, which was definitely um, as this article has put it, a modest debut from what Elon Musk sees as a transformative new business line. The first robotaxi trips were limited to a narrow portion of Tesla's hometown of Austin, with an employee in each vehicle keeping tabs on the operations. The car maker handpicked a friendly crop of initial riders, which featured investors and social media influencers who live streamed their trips. So this is actually pretty amazing. I was on Twitter today watching a bunch of the videos, and if we could take a look here, it's actually pretty astonishing to see how far along they've come with the driverless and how well it actually executes. As you can see in the video that Andrew just showed, the car actually pulled over to the side to allow the oncoming car to fit through the construction that was being done. And in this one, the car pulls over for an ambulance with no driver in the seat. It's pretty amazing. As you guys know, we're really big fans of Waymo here. Um, but whenever there's innovation and growth in the sector, competition pushes both companies. The better each one gets, you know, the more it makes the other company want to excel as well. And overall, it's just, the right direction technology should be going and is going. Um, in one of the videos, a fan account marveled over the speed of the vehicle and the ability to park autonomously. Another influencer on X actually said the trip was smoother than a human driver. And then a massive Tesla investor said the ride was awesome. So overall, just pretty good reviews from the company. Um, and then kind of looking a little bit into the valuation here. Um, Tom Narain, an analyst with RBC Capitalist Markets, said in a note that robotaxis are critical to the Tesla investment case. Um, about 60% of his valuation for the shares is attributable to the self-driving vehicles. So if you're invested in Tesla, this is a really big event for you, just because so much of that valuation is really rooted in their driverless robotaxi. So yeah, this is definitely something to keep an eye on. It was pretty cool to watch. Haven't done, would love to actually do one myself. Maybe we'll go to Austin, try it, Andrew. Um,
Yeah,
but
maybe,
yeah,
maybe.
maybe. But yeah, no, that's super cool to see. Love seeing stuff like that. And now moving on to another thing that happened this week that I thought was crazy. Um, so Sam Altman, he was on like a podcast type of thing. And he was opening up with like and talking about the struggles that OpenAI is having. Um, where he kind of said that Mark Zuckerberg is trying to poach their top AI engineers, right? And offering signing bonuses. When I saw this, I was like, "Whoa, what the heck?" Of upwards to $100 million. I mean, we're talking LeBron James numbers here, right? That's crazy to see. Altman quoted saying, "While Meta has sought to hire a lot of people from OpenAI, so far none of our best people have decided to take them up on that." Altman said, speaking on the Uncapped podcast, which is actually hosted by his brother. That's actually pretty cool to see. Um, he also said, "I've heard that Meta thinks of us as their biggest competitor." He said their current AI efforts have not worked as well as they have hoped, and I respect being aggressive and continuing to try new things. So again, friendly competition. But I think when it comes to AI, OpenAI is definitely the way to go. And I'm assuming the top engineers for OpenAI, they know that. That's why they haven't, bit on the $100 million bonuses, and they probably have some sort of equity in OpenAI. And OpenAI maybe at some point is going to be valued the same as Meta. So I mean, you do the math. It's a lot of money. It's a little bit more or a lot more than $100 million. Um, but yeah, this is super cool to see. But other than that, back to you, Andrew.
Yeah, and that kind of caps off our outlook for this week. There's a lot of things to watch this week. Market's going to be super volatile, so definitely stay tuned for any videos that we may drop. There's going to be obviously day trading recaps if I take a trade. If me and Landon find some stocks that we're going to looking into that look really good, we'll also post a video. So be sure to subscribe and turn notification on. Stay tuned. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this trading table video. Have a great week of trading and good luck to everyone.